does that stop the problem? I don't want these kids walking around with fake IDs.
You think I'm gonna liquor up some kids to send them on their way to their death? You're out of your mind.
Hi, Polly, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, buddy?
Good. So, what was the beginning of it? How did it all start?
So this all started June 2022, to really start from the beginning. And if you recall, in June 2022, that is when the third and final lockdown in California was lifted. We were basically locked down for 2 years or whatnot. And interesting to find out the rest of the country wasn't, but we were. That's neither here nor there. So we reopened June 2022, and we got an influx right off the bat of, and we expected to be busy, but of a lot of younger adults, 20s, where always we've been traditionally a middle-aged bar. After the first 2 weeks, having to check everybody's IDs and whatnot, and obviously not let a lot of people in, we doubled our staff. We went from 2 door guys to 5 door guys. What was happening is the people that couldn't get in because they didn't have an ID, or their ID we deemed was fake, they didn't leave, they just hung out in the parking lot. Where some of their friends would still come in and they would go back and forth. Now, that got such a problem, I contacted the sheriff's department the first time, and they told me straight out, if you see people drinking in your parking lot, do not engage, just call us. We'll handle it. It could escalate for various reasons, which I totally understood. We ended up calling 10 times over a 3-month period about people drinking in our parking lot. Every time when the sheriffs would show up, it would be nothing to see here. Everybody just take it home, even though they saw that there was alcohol. They saw that their trunks were open with radio blasting. And they would just, take it home, take it elsewhere. No violations, no drinking in public, no nothing. And one night in particular, it was pretty insane because there was literally over 100 people out there. And it was about 1:55 a.m. I called the dispatch. And the dispatch told me, he's like, well, are they breaking the law? And I says, well, they're drinking in public, for one. For two, you're about to get a bunch of calls from the neighbors because they're blasting music. They sent about 6 units out. They literally just corralled everyone on their loud phone. Take it home. Got to get out of here. Not one person was arrested, cited. They didn't follow anyone to see if anyone was drinking and driving, which made us all really confused, to be honest. But then again, in context, again, this is the summer 2022. We still had that whole George Floyd thing going, the whole defund the police thing going. So it was a very interesting time. So we didn't really know what to make of it. Anyway, moving on, because of such things, we started getting phone calls from parents. Parents calling saying, hey, my underage kid was in your establishment. And they weren't very nice about it. Understandably, they were upset about it. And I says, well, I can assure you, if they were inside the establishment, they have a fake ID, which of course they claim, no, they don't, no fake ID. I says, well, how do you know they were there? And they simply said, well, we pinged their phone. I says, okay, well, let's just find a solution here. Very easy solution. Just send me a picture of your child. I will make sure my door guys have it. And regardless of what ID they show us, we just won't let them in. Problem solved. And every single parent was like, nah, right away, 180. I don't want to embarrass my kid. This one gentleman in particular is like, my daughter's a good girl. She's going back to school in a week. Like, nothing to see here. Thought it was very strange. Finally, first weekend of October, ABC shows up because, again, like I said, the Sheriff's Department and ABC got a bunch of calls from parents saying their underage kids were inside the establishment. So ABC shows up about 4 deep, unexpected, badges out, uniforms, the whole nine, which we welcomed them. By the time they were already here, by the time I got here, when I had a conversation with them, they said straight out, you guys are great. You guys are on it. The 2 older gentlemen you have working, their resumes are fantastic. Like, everything is thumbs up. Just give us a call if you need us. All good. Great. So now fast forward 2 months later, December 16th, it's a Friday like any other Friday. Started out kind of slow. I didn't get to work till after 11. Generally, I try to come later because I do bartend and I want my bartenders to make as much money as possible. So until I'm absolutely needed, that's when I'll jump in. So when I arrived that night, normal night, wasn't very busy. It was a big group I had heard had just left of about 12 and whatnot. And it's starting to trickle in with our regular middle-aged crowd that usually show up about 11, 10:30, 11. So no big deal, not like any other night. Maybe 1:30 in the morning, one of my employees told me that they heard that there was a really bad accident.
They just lost their son in a car accident. His friend was in the driver's seat. Our Anusha Rasa is live in Yorba Linda after speaking to the family. Anusha.
Jonathan, one young man killed, another facing a decade in prison, all because of something the victim's family says could have been avoided.
Where someone lost their lives, and it might have been the group that was here, which was devastating. It's like, wait, what? Like, and right away your heart stops. I mean, you hear somebody lost their lives, especially someone very young, and I didn't know how old the person was at the time, but anytime you hear somebody pass away, it's just devastating, for one. For two, the Canyon Inn Sports Bar and Grill, I mean, we've been here since 1965. Terry and I have been here for just under 30 years ourselves, running the place. And this place, it's like a community. So anytime you hear somebody in the community lost their lives, it's just devastating. I mean, I live in Yorba Linda. Yorba Linda is a very tight-knit community, so it's heartbreaking. So we fast forward, then we're moving on, and a couple days later, we get notification that they were actually here. So right away, I was like, well, whatever you need from us, you got it. ABC showed up, I believe, 5 days later. I could be wrong on that. I think it was a week later, but not completely sure. And they came, and I says, whatever I can do, whatever you need. Gave them our DVR, told them, reach me at any time, available for anything you need. Total cooperation, because we want to get to the bottom of this. First and foremost, most importantly, because if this person was at our establishment, I want to make sure that the rumor mills, everybody's going to go to all the speculation and whatnot is going to just run rampant. So I welcome the investigation. Absolutely. I want to do everything right by the book. I completely trust, I mean, after almost 30 years working here as either a GM or an owner, I trust the system. I believe the system works. So whatever you guys need. So I wasn't worried. I wasn't worried of any repercussions or whatnot, except for the fact of somebody lost their lives, and it's very sad and it's terrible, and the whole community is going to grieve. But other than that, as far as legalities, I had no worries. Fast forward then, come February, I leave town. I go visit my dad in Florida. I come back, I believe, a week later in the middle of February. And the day that I landed, there's this Facebook post from the gentleman that died's father, just blasting us, basically saying the owners don't care. My son was underage, was in there without an ID. All kinds of stuff. But the gist of it is that the owners don't care. They just out for money or whatnot. That is the only post that I responded to. I responded that I am actually one of the owners, and we are devastated of that. We send our deepest condolences. Of course we can. In speaking with Terry, The next morning, she's like, yeah, don't respond to anything. And I was like, I wasn't going to. I just was really offended at the fact that they said that we don't care. But obviously, there's an investigation, and we trust the process, and we're not going to touch anything. From that moment on, the relentless posts were incredible. Unbelievable. They were such vitriol and vile statements made about me personally, that she didn't want me to see it. None of my people wanted me to see it. They said, stay off Facebook. You don't need to read this. So they were handling all that stuff.
Hello, Terry.
Hello, how are you today?
Good, and you?
All right, thanks.
Great. So we're gonna get right into it. So at what point did you realize something had gone terribly wrong?
First heard something Friday night, later in the evening, probably early morning Saturday around 1 or so. We heard that there was an accident that possibly involves someone who had been in our bar. It wasn't confirmed until Sunday morning when I received a phone call from a good friend of mine who knew for a fact it happened. She was at a party the Saturday night before where the mother of the boy who passed away was supposed to be at, but she didn't come to because her son had died the day before. And it was quite alarming, as my friend told me, that I need to know what's going on because they are coming after me. I said, who's coming after me? And she said, everyone at that party is there. You are at fault. You are at fault. And they're going to come after you full throttle. And I need you to know this. My husband told me to stay out of it, but you need to know what's going to happen to you. I said, well, thank you very much. I'm like, look, what the hell is happening? Well, we check the ID. We make sure first that it looks legitimate. We check the birthday. We check the picture compared to the person at it. We have black lights that you put underneath the ID to show the holograms and whatnot to make sure they're legitimate. We also have a book. It's called a regular ID book because it shows all the states in the union, the proper IDs. It shows IDs from foreign countries. It shows military IDs, what they're supposed to look at. Not to my knowledge, in the 29 years that I've worked here, I've never seen a problem, not one time. As a matter of fact, in years past, when Brea PD used to patrol us, they sent in several decoy, it's called a decoy unit, and they send decoy units in, and we passed every single time and would literally get letters of commendation from Brea PD on saying how well we were doing. Yeah, and then also, to prove my point even more, 2 months before the accident, the accident was December 16th, 2022, and October 2022, we had 3 or 4 ABC agents walk through that front door, and they checked all the IDs, they looked at younger people, checked IDs, and we passed with flying colors. 2 months before. So no, I don't know any time that our system has failed.
Terry, how did you feel when you found out someone had passed away?
How did I feel when I found out? I felt horrible. You never want to hear someone pass away, especially in your own community. No, don't feel good at all. But when I found out how young of a person this was, basically my daughter's age right now, I was gutted. How gutted. A young man whose whole life is ahead of him, parents who have lost their child, it's devastating.
So when did the accusations from the father begin?
Those started in mid-February is when the first post hit, but they really started coming in hot and heavy like the first week and a half of March, where I saw one and I contacted the site and asked them to take it down, but then I saw they started coming in more and more and more and more. I counted, I think, 162 or so, from Alta Loma to Riverside to the Sandy Koufax page to Alta Loma, San Bernardino, name it, anything in Southern California. And from that reach, I counted all the people on those pages. He reached 1.4 million people with these posts. I'll tell you what they said in a minute. But from those 1.4 million people, I found scores, probably hundreds of shares. So who knows how many people he reached with this. He said that we basically been profiting off of minors for years, that we condone serving minors, that we are as bad as drug dealers. We've been named in the same sentence. This is also from comments. People are commenting on these posts. We've been used in the same sentence as sex traffickers, child molesters, drug dealers, murderers. What else? It just doesn't get much worse than that, especially when I'm a parent of a teenage daughter. And he was saying such egregious things, and then it just snowballed from that, where he asked people to contact the ABC and to file complaints, which is fraudulent, because why would they contact the ABC when they don't know what the heck's going on? So hundreds, literally hundreds of times he said, contact the ABC and file a complaint. Contact the ABC, file a complaint. We had some people on comments on there say, make a Yelp review, make a Yelp review, make a Google review. At one point, one of the people on one of these posts said, I can't comment on Yelp. I cannot make a Yelp review because they have temporarily shut it down because of the high volume of reviews. And all of them, every single one of them, said we were condoning and serving minors, that we served, profited off them for over a decade. That, one thing he said is that we have been serving, he gave proof to the ABC that we served a 15-year-old and two 16-year-olds in here, that he gave the ABC proof, and that he's working with the agents to come after us because they want our license taken away because we are such horrible, 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 vile human beings, that we serve minors, and we sent his son off to his death, that we liquored him up and sent him on his way to his death. I'm a mother. I'm a sole parent. And you think I'm going to liquor up some kids to send them on their way to their death? You're out of your mind.
Now, what impact have those reviews had on Canyon?
A devastating impact. Are you kidding me? Our business was cut in half at least in half. People stopped coming in here. We have turned into the black sheep of Yorba Linda. I want to tell you something that happened because of those reviews. The Taste of Yorba Linda is a huge fundraiser for the city of Yorba Linda for the past 30 years.
The Taste of Yorba Linda is on the last Friday of July every year. Canyon Inn has been part of that for 28 or 30 years, something. The owners before us started doing that. And we donate thousands of dollars worth of food, thousands of dollars worth of beer, and many, many dollars worth of labor. And we do it every year. It's a great thing. We have a chicken wing booth, we have a beer booth. We were actually one of the first beer booths ever. I think there was only one beer booth to begin with, and that was us many, many years ago. Okay, so the accident happened December 16th, 2022. The next Taste of Yorba Linda would have been the last Friday of July of 2023. There are 4 people working the beer booth. It's myself, my partner, my sister, who knows well what's going on with the underage drinking, and my best friend, who's been my best friend since I was 15, and I'm now 59. So we're the 4 people serving beers, and then my daughter, that was 2 years ago, was 15, and my sister's daughter, youngest daughter, who was 13. So there's 2 young girls, and then the 4 of us in the booth. Well, everyone at the Taste of Yorba Linda who's over 21 has to be carded, and they have a 21 and over band. We were serving the drinks as we usually do. My daughter's serving the chicken wings. I leave for 5 minutes. It's a 4-hour night. It's about the first hour and a half. I walk inside to see someone I know who's working inside because our booth was outside. I come out, and I come back and see my niece and my daughter, and I said, "Do you want mustache mics?" I go over to mustache mics. By the time I come back 5 minutes later, my sister's face is like this. I see bags over our tap handles, and I see my daughter and my niece absolutely petrified. And I said, "What just happened?" Paula said, "They shut us down." I said, "Excuse me?" He goes, "They shut us down." I said, "Who shut us down?" And he pointed over there. There were 3 sheriffs sitting right there. And I go, "The sheriffs shut us down?" And he said, "No, the Chamber of Commerce shut us down." With that, I look at my daughter, I look at my niece, they're petrified. They think I'm going to jail because 3 big sheriffs, I wasn't there when it happened, but 3
three big sheriffs come over and tell us, are behind the guy when he tells us to shut down. So I said, Kirsten, get my daughter home. Get my daughter home now. Get the kids out of here. So then we clean up. We're walking around. We're like in a state of shock. Walking around there, people are like, why'd you close down? Why'd you close down? We have no idea. We're done. They said we served minors. Well, that was a Friday night. I couldn't get a hold of anyone Saturday. I couldn't get a hold of anyone Sunday. I called the president of the Chamber of Commerce Monday morning. Her name is Susan Juan Ross. I said, what is going on? And she said, well, you were serving alcohol. I said, we did not. There's 4 people serving beer, and those 4 people know what's going on with the underage drinking problem we're having with the ABC. No one served anyone underage. And it wasn't our liquor license. It is the city of Yorba Linda's liquor license, temporary license. So it wasn't on our license, it was on their license. And I said, no, we didn't. I told her what happened, and I started crying. I said, there's no way. I need to know myself. I need to know who served the underage person. I need to know that just for my personal sanity. Well, she goes, hold on. She gets off the phone. She comes back. Oh, well, we sent a decoy over. I said, you sent a what? We sent a decoy over, a young kid who wasn't 21. He walked over and he grabbed a beer from the cooler and turned around and gave it to the Orange County Sheriff. I go, excuse me? So you illegally asked a minor child to come to my stand and steal a beer from us? Is that where you're saying's happened? No. Yeah, that's what happened. I go, well, did you just hear what you said? You said that we did not serve anyone underage, yet you embarrassed us and made us shut down. And it's the biggest moneymaker of the year for the city of Yorba Linda, the biggest moneymaker of the year. And we've done nothing but donate. And you shut us down in the middle of it because you said we served a minor. Well, yeah, we got a complaint from a neighboring booth that said you weren't checking IDs good enough. Excuse me? Okay, well, whatever. That's good to know. Well, then when I contacted her, Susan Juan Ross, by email, I said, I need all reports from that night. And she said there weren't any reports. I said, Susan, you read from a report when you put me on hold, you brought me back on hold, you read from a report. She goes, there was no report. And I said, okay. And she said, well, I hope you are able to have a good rest of the evening. I said, excuse me, my daughter and my niece thought I was going to jail. You shut us down in the middle. You embarrassed us all. You accused us of serving a minor. You just told me we didn't. You had someone come steal a beer from us, and you shut us down. Thank you. We will no longer be doing business with the Taste of Yorba Linda. We're no longer paying the Chamber of Commerce any kind of money to be part of the Chamber of Commerce, since your mission statement is to instill brotherhood and whatever in the city, yet you accused us of this heinous crime. And so we're no longer with the Chamber of Commerce.
And then have you reached out to that family?
No,
Why not?
don't know what to say.
And if you could, what would you say?
I would say no parent deserves to go through what you have gone through. I do not wish that on my own enemy. I do not. But what you did to me is illegal. It's criminal. You have literally torn my life apart because of what you think happened with no proof, no nothing. You just decided to blame us. We did our job. These fake IDs are so good right now that they run through scanners that apparently TSA, they go through TSA. So I don't know what they want us to do. We did our job. I don't know, or sacrificial lamb. I don't know what we are, but we did nothing wrong. I'll stand by that to my last breath. Oh yeah, dude, our sales are cut in half, meaning we're not as busy. They don't make as many tips. My partner and I have to take over working shifts because we don't have money. Our payroll, we're cutting payroll just to save money any way we can, just to stay open. So yeah, it has affected everyone, down to our cleaning lady. It has affected our distributors. It has affected everyone.
What is it like showing up to the bar every day now? It's the same?
No, this is my happy place. This is my baby. I worked here since 1995. I love this place. My dad used to come here. This was my dad's bar he came to. And blood, sweat, and tears. I've missed holidays. I missed weekends because That's what you do when you own a bar. That's what you do. And I'm not complaining about that, nothing. But I put everything into this bar, and it was taken away from me because of one night, and I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong, and I do not deserve my name to be dragged through the mud, my partner's name being dragged through the mud, my manager's name being dragged through the mud. None of us deserve this. We are good people we work our ass off. My partner and I, we clean toilets. We do everything in this bar. We do not have any of our employees do anything that we wouldn't do ourselves. And it sucks because we are a family here. We are a family. We're such a tight-knit family here, and it's taken a toll on us all.
Have you ever thought about shutting the place down?
Fuck no. Why should I? This is my baby. Worked my ass off for this. I will not go down. No way. We did nothing wrong. We will fight to the end. Prove our innocence. We are going to prove, mark my words, we are going to prove our innocence.
All right, Tori, and why are you choosing to speak out now?
Well, to be perfectly honest, it's because the ABC hearing's over, our suspension is over, and we're trying to tell our story now. We want the community, we want the city of Yorba Linda, we want Southern California. We want whoever he reached, those 1.4 million exponential, to know that we are not the monsters he's portrayed us to be. We're still the same old Terry, still the same old Polly, who love this place, who treat the community as family, who treat our employees as family, even more than that. We're closer than family, our employees. We just want them to know we are not the vile, vicious human beings that he has portrayed us to be. We're quite the antithesis of that. We're lovely people, might I just add.
What has this experience taught you about running a business?
What has it taught me about running a business? To stay tough, stick to your guns, and that, you know what, you find out who true people are in your life, actually. The people who have stuck by us, some of them, it's very surprising who stuck by us through thick and thin and through all this. And it's a kind of surprising who has dumped on us and who has said shit about us, and it sucks. But we're going to survive, we're going to prevail, and we'll be better than ever, God willing.
If you could go back to that night, what would you do differently?
What could we have done differently? We checked the IDs. What could we have done differently?
So, what protocol do you guys have when you guys receive a fake ID? Or
When we actually confiscate a fake ID, we are supposed to, by ABC law, to turn it over to local law enforcement within 24 hours. In fact, June, after the accident, it was June 2023, we confiscated an ID on a Thursday night, I believe. Friday morning, like I do all the other times, I took it to the Yorba Linda substation, and I had it in an envelope. I actually had my partner on the phone at the time, on speakerphone, and I pull into the parking lot, and there was a sheriff in his car with the window rolled down. And he knew, I told him Polly was on the phone, so he was well aware Polly was on the phone with us. And I said, I have a fake ID we got last night. I need to turn it in. And he looked at me like, huh? And I actually had a screenshot of the ABC handbook on my phone. And I put it through the window, and I said, right there, it says I need to turn into local law enforcement within 24 hours. And he said, well, we don't want you to get in trouble, do we? I said, no, we don't, thanks. So he moved his car to get better reception, made a report, whatever he did, and he handed me his card. Okay, good and dandy. Thank you so much, officer. I was on my way home. Takes me 10 minutes to get home, still on the phone with my partner. And my bartender at the time called. And I said, hold on, Polly, she never calls. So I listened to her. I said, hold on. I put Polly back on the phone. I go, Danielle, tell Polly what you just told me. And she said, and she was in the office when she was talking to this person, and we have her side of the conversation on tape. She said, the officer you just handed that fake ID to called looking for you, and he wanted me to tell you that you don't have to turn it in within 24 hours, even though I showed him that by law I have to. You don't, that he's done research. You don't have to turn it within 24 hours. You can, in fact, save him to the end of the week,
or you could save them to the end of the month, or you could throw them away. And you could also give them back to the minor. And Danielle says, why would we want to do that? How does that stop underage drinking? I work at another bar and there's a problem there, blah, 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 blah. And whatever. So I was shocked, completely shocked, Polly shocked.
Okay, but why would we do that? What, like, why would we give it back to them? Because then they just use it again, you know what I mean? Like, wouldn't it be better to take it?
About a couple days later, Polly called the then supervising agent in charge because they had a rapport. They were talking about the DVR that we hadn't gone back yet, that kind of stuff. And he didn't get back to Polly for a few days. But when he did get back to Polly, Polly was here and he was in the office on speakerphone. He always talks on speakerphone. And we have the entire conversation on our video surveillance on tape. And it was about a 12, 15-minute conversation. And when the agent was about ready to hang up, he said, is there anything else you'd like to ask me? And Polly said, yeah, I would. Actually, my partner, Teresa, turned in an ID to the sheriff's a few days ago, and he called back and said that we don't need to turn them in, that we could give them back to the minor. Do you want to know what the supervising agent in charge of the ABC said to my partner?
Yeah. Is there anything else for now?
No, sir, nothing I can think of.
Okay, we'll communicate.
Yeah, going back to the sheriff. So the sheriffs do what they do. So what do? We were told literally told, just give it back.
Literally, they give it back. They give it back.
But how does that stop the problem? I don't want these kids walking around with fake IDs, because then I'm going to get blamed for it.
The sheriff's department.
I'm not. I'm going to do AB, because that was the one thing that really got me heated. Like what they told Haley in her interview, when she said that I've called the sheriff's department numerous times, their response to that was, he should have called us.
He
and
said,
I'm like,
well,
wow.
if the sheriffs say that, just do it then. And Polly basically said, are you out of your mind? Why would we do that? Isn't the purpose here, don't we all want to stop the epidemic of underage drinking? Why would we give them back to minors so they can use it somewhere else, to drink illegally somewhere else, to go buy alcohol somewhere else illegally? Why would we want to do that? He had no answer.
If you would go back to that night, what would you do differently?
Honestly, there's nothing. There's nothing we would have done different. Our staff has all went through the ABC Leads course. The staff that we had, my manager was in charge before I got there. She had been with us for 10 years. The other bartender is a retired Marine. And our door guys, obviously, the ABC just gave us all thumbs up. So our staff knew exactly what they were doing. And then the reputation around the neighborhood, all of a sudden we were canceled. We're black sheep. And honestly, a lot of our customers, I don't blame them. Like, who wants to go to a bar that's under investigation for anything? Like, I don't blame them at all. But the fact that they made this, they just tried to turn us into the sacrificial lamb. That's the way I read it, right? So it was like, you asked Terry that question, why now? Why are we telling our story now? Is because we wanted to do everything right as far as to protocol, their protocol. We didn't want to skip any steps. We were going to say, okay, what is the protocol? We're going to have a hearing, whatever, X, Y, and Z. So we wanted to do everything, and we did everything as far as, first off, when they found us liable, which they said they would have a decision within 30 days. Day 63, we get a letter in the mail saying that they find us liable for all 13 counts, but it is a proposed decision. When we got the proposed verdict, I mean, we were just flabbergasted. We wanted to scream from the top of our lungs, but wanted to do everything right. So we followed every procedure that they had in front of us. And it took another 18 months, I believe, until finally we get a letter in the mail, Christmas Eve, 2024, saying that they accept their proposed verdict. And so then our next step would be to if we wanted to fight, is to file an appeals court, actual appellate court. We did that. We were denied. Then we actually filed to go to the Supreme Court of California. We did that. That was denied. And then they just gave us a 35-day suspension. So we served the suspension. We did everything to their protocol. And now is the time to tell the story. We wanted to stay silent the whole time because we trusted the system. We didn't want anyone to look at us to say we did something wrong, you skipped a step or whatnot. We put all our faith in the system. We're playing by their rules, and that's all we can do.
Do you have any final message to those who supported or attacked you?
All the attacks by anonymous people, of course, by people that have never set foot in this bar, that's never met me or Terry personally, but had so much to say. It's just a part of that cancel culture where, in my opinion, they just want to feel righteous or whatnot. But I don't understand how any human being can make a statement about another human being's actions, business, whatever, without ever knowing them, meeting them, setting foot in their establishment, let alone to be called a murderer, a sex trafficker, a pedophile, amongst other things I was called personally, which just absolutely blew my mind. I would encourage those people to first find the facts out, because know what you're talking about, for one, but for two, look in the mirror. I mean, who are you to pass judgment on such a platform, to be heard, to condemn someone without knowing the information? We called the sheriffs 10 times with people drinking in the parking lot. Nothing was done. We were in constant communication with law enforcement about this. ABC shows up. They say we're doing everything right. Great. 2 months later, they want to take our license because we're a detriment to the society. In these posts, I mean, this guy literally said that more of our young people will die if this bar is able to stay in business. I mean, that's crazy talk, because all we do is exist. We have a business. We've been here for 60 years, 29 years between the two of us, but all of a sudden, the past decade, our business model is underage, and then people that have no idea of what's what, never set foot in here, they're all jumping on the bandwagon. Oh, absolutely, I saw this, I heard this. Almost every one of those comments or statement was, I heard, or nothing eyewitness statement, nothing like that at all, because someday this might happen to you. It's just incredible. But to go down the line of the incredible things that happen to us, and there's still stuff that we cannot say, there's still stuff we cannot say, because this plight is not totally over for us. And you'll understand why. You understand why, but the audience will understand why. But we are going to bring this story. We are not quitting. Like you asked Terry, did you think, why continue on? I can tell you this. Every single person in my life, in my inner circle, family, friends, even my closest friend who's a mentor to me in this industry, most people come to me for advice in bar restaurant industry, which is very nice and whatnot. But when I have a question, this is the person I go to. Everyone, including him, was like, just walk away. Don't fight. This is a fight you can't win. The ABC is too powerful. If they say it, it's done. You can't fight them. And I was like, I could never look myself in the mirror if I did that. How can I just give up my business because they said, you give up your business, basically. It's basically, we were told you're out of business, either by public or from the ABC, because they went for full revocation of our license. But there was no way that we know we did nothing wrong. I called me old-fashioned and I don't know, old school, whatnot, but I will never admit to wrongdoing, to doing something I've never done. I would never admit to anything that wasn't true, just to avoid a fight, just to avoid controversy. And these last 3 years have been hell. I am not exaggerating. It's been the toughest 3 years of my adult life by far. And it's just, I look at it as a crucible. But what's more important to me, to Terry, is to look myself in the mirror and, hey, I fought the good fight. I fought to save my name. I wasn't going to just admit, okay, take a plea, go away. And that's admitting that we serve minors, that's no way. We'll never do that. We'll never do that. So all we did the last 2.5 years from the start was we just kept our mouths shut while everyone was talking, and we collected all the receipts. And we have, you've seen them, stacks and stacks. And we want these receipts to go out in the open. Literally the stuff that ABC said, the stuff from the hearing. I mean, literally the head agent in charge advising me to give fake ID back to an underage individual, while at the very same time, they're in the process of trying to take our license, a full revocation of our liquor license, for underage getting in with said fake ID. To me, they're trying to set us up. They tried to bully us in every way just to take a plea. Everything was about the plea. And when we refused, we said, no, thank you. We would prefer to have our day in court. We would prefer to have our hearing. Then the gloves came off, and they just came at us full force no matter what. And if it doesn't make any bit of a difference to anybody, it makes a difference to us. And that's most important, that we know that we did the right thing, we fought the good fight, and we're never going to admit to wrongdoing that we didn't do. And this is also incredible because, like I said, we're here 60 years, 29 years here personally, 28 years as me in charge. And a big reason, if this can happen to us, after 30 years, this can happen to anybody, any other bar. I know a lot of people in the community, in the bar community. It's kind of it used to be a close-knit community, but if they can go after a bar that's been in great standings for 60 years, they can go after anybody. And much like, in my opinion, how a cop can follow you for a mile or 5 miles on the highway, eventually they're going to find a reason to pull you over. The ABC is the same thing. They can come in at any time and eventually find some reason to mess with you in some way. So all we can do is follow the protocols that they give us, and we have done that, and we stand by that, and all the evidence that we have is going to prove that. We just want to get all the evidence out for everything to see after being silent for so long. We actually had someone post on a comment recently that knew us, and they said something negative, like, oh, they're obviously serving underage. And then when we contacted, why would you say that? They said, well, you guys have been so quiet. So they took our silence as an admission of guilt. So we need to do this.
The posting stopped for a while, for about a year or so, and then we served our suspension, and we've reopened now for about 3 months, July, August, maybe 4 months. About a month ago, the posting started again. This time they were anonymously, same kind of posts, same kind of everything, exact same thing. So we all know who it is, but now he's focused on me. He's posted my picture literally 50 to 100 times. And my employees say, well, at least it's a good picture tag. Well, thank you. It's a nice picture. But he's saying this, I'm the vile human being who is liquoring up the minors in the city of Yorba Linda and sending mom the way. I am an ugly old hag. I don't have a cent to my name, blah, blah, blah. It goes on and on and on. But now he's focused on me. He was focused on my partner 2 years ago. Now it's on me. And whatever, dude. It's all over. At least 6, 7, 8 Anaheim, Yorba Linda, and Brea sites. So I'm still fighting that. I got a couple taken down, but as he's posting anonymously, it's hard to say, but I might have proof that it is him.
The final message?
Final message is, be careful out there, people. Be careful out there, because like my partner said,
I mean, if this happened to us, this can happen to any bar owner, any bartender, any manager, anyone.